When you play the Game of Thrones, you
Subscribe and like.
or you die. There is no middle ground.
Alright, hello YouTube, and welcome back to the Grease Comedy YouTube channel. Today's video, we're going to be doing a video that was kind of based off of a stream. We talked about it a little bit in last week's stream. And the idea of why did Stannis end up being married to the Florents? It's a really interesting idea because the Florents are kind of a, I don't know if I'd say a minor house, but they're one of the Reach lords that swear fealty to the Tyrells. So it's very weird when you look at face value why Stannis, who at this point when Robb takes the throne and kind of around when Stannis would get married, is the heir to the Iron Throne, and he's getting married to such a minor house. But before we get into the video, if you guys like to like, subscribe, and comment, please do. It helps channel grow, reach our appeal that might like this content as well. And let's get into the video. So, if you're like me and you're someone that watched majority of the show before you ever read the books, you might be thinking that Stannis actually got married before Robert's Rebellion, because there's a lot of like stuff in the show about how Stannis and his wife were trapped in Storm's End during the siege, and there's a lot of dialogue about that. But in the books, it's actually the opposite. Stannis is not married or anything like that. He ends up getting married after. So on the face value of it, this marriage makes no sense, right? Selyse, I believe is how you say her name. She is not in line to like inherit the Florent, like Brightwater or anything like that. She's very low on the Florent line of succession, I guess. And Stannis is in a very advantageous position, right? Again, Robert has no heirs. Stannis, that's the whole reason Robert says, Stannis, you get Dragonstone. One, because Stannis was the heir for a while until Joffrey would come about. And also, he needed someone that was like good, strong to rule Dragonstone. But the idea here is you have to look a little bit further than face value, right? For political reasons for Stannis and garnering power and making it a really good political relationship or marriage for Stannis, there really isn't one. Like, the Florents are not a big help to Stannis for the most part. I mean, they are one of his biggest supporters when it comes to the War of the Five Kings, but again, not a ton of power there. And even some of the Florents actually don't even go with Stannis. So, again, not a great relationship there. Also, Selyse is, by all accounts, not attractive at all. So, I just don't, like, when you really look at the face value of it, this relationship makes no sense. Like, none. But when we go a little deeper and we understand why I would think Robert Baratheon would give his kind of blessing on this relationship, is one, we have to take account that the Tyrells, who are the lords of the Reach and over the Florents, they stayed with the Mad King till the end, right? Like, they were loyal to him till the end. They were sieging Storm's End the entire time. So I think the idea here is you, one, insult the Tyrells because it makes so much more sense for a Tyrell to be wed to Stannis. And also, you kind of use it as a threat, where it's like you step out of line and boom, we'll put the Florents in your place because, again, they're not trustworthy at this point. And that, to me, is kind of the quick explanation as to why Stannis and Selyse were married. Right, and this one, again, it's something that I think goes into a lot of Stannis' character, is Stannis never, ever has any situation where he's doing anything as advantageous for him, right? Everything that happens to Stannis, if we look at not getting Storm's End, not getting really much like love, it feels like, from Robert, is all for kind of Robert and the realm as a whole, their gain, right? Because, again, like we said, his entire marriage was only kind of meant as a threat and or to spite the Tyrells, right? That's it. Nothing helps Stannis in this situation, right? He doesn't get any power, doesn't really get any allies off of maybe the Florents, and then again, the Florents are such a big family at this point, and Selyse is way down in being one of the most popular candidates in there. It really makes sense to me as to why this would be done, I guess, from Robert Baratheon and probably like Jon Arryn's kind of little idea there. But it's a really unfortunate situation because Stannis, as Renly kind of says, has no like happiness in his life. He has no peach, right? He is constantly given what he's given and he just sucks it up. And that's kind of Stannis as a character. He's a very tragic character when you look at a lot of his backstory and what goes on. And this is just kind of one of the other slights that, in my opinion, makes Stannis very resentful and salty of the way Ned is treated compared to Stannis, who is Stannis. Literally, Stannis is Robert's brother and gets treated like shit compared to Ned, who is not related to Rob, but is treated like an actual brother. It's something that we talk about a lot with Robert Baratheon, and the reason Stannis is the way he is a lot of the reasons because of Robert, and a lot of his childhood trauma, like seeing his parents die, basically, being in charge of a castle, and basically being sieged until you literally you have no food left, until Davos comes, of course. So it's a really interesting character, and on the face value of it, you really don't understand why this marriage works, and what the point of it was, because if you look at it in an alternate timeline, let's say Stannis instead marries, I don't know who would have been exactly available at this time, but maybe he marries an actual Tyrell, because my thing here is, I get what Robert and I guess the Crown was thinking at this point, giving Stannis this relationship. But at the same time, you could have just as easily brought the Tyrells into the Crown and loyal to you by marrying one of them to the heir to the throne at this time. And also securing the Tyrells, one of the most powerful, and the Reach as a whole, their alliance, which is something that would be really beneficial. You would have not only the Lannisters, but the Tyrells married into the Crown at this point, which would be really, really beneficial. I just think that was a bad political move, personally, but I understand why it happened. I also think there could have been other better matches for Stannis. It's just Stannis kind of came into a time period within Westeros where he kind of missed out on all the weddings, right? Because you look at how many betrothals, how many weddings there were in the lead up to Robert's Rebellion, and even during Robert's Rebellion, Stannis kind of missed his window of opportunity where most of the best candidates were probably off the board. So yeah, that is the video. Thank you guys all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.
If you think this has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention.